What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Fight With Him podcast. Today's guest is Mr. Sam Kim. He is the founder of Heavenly Exchange, and you guys do content, clothing. Well, no, Heavenly Exchange is the clothing company.
Yeah.
Kim Creative, it's an exclusive announcement right here. Kim Creative is your guys' content company, and you run it with your lovely wife.
I do.
Who is behind the scenes. We'll bring her on so that you guys can say hi. Thank you so much for being here, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I literally we go to church together.
Yeah.
We've met maybe once, and then I saw you training with Turna, who I know, and I hit you up on Instagram, and you were like, yeah, let's do it. So thanks, man. Appreciate you so much. Tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah, man. It's pretty crazy. I was actually born in Brazil.
Okay.
My parents are full-blooded Korean, and they had me there, and we moved to California when I was 5.
Okay.
And then pretty much lived here till 14. My parents felt like they were called back to Brazil to do mission work. So we moved back at 14. And then 18, I moved back here to California after high school.
Did you move back on your own? Or?
Yeah, I moved back on my own. My parents still, till today, do mission work out in Brazil.
Why'd you want to come back to California?
Just because I knew this is where home is.
Yeah.
And obviously with the language too, it's like I can speak Portuguese, but not enough to go to college out there.
Yeah.
Quality of living here in the U.S. too, was something special about, my parents being immigrants and doing all the right things to get us citizenship. And, I truly do love this country. And, I just want to be back where, I know I belong.
What brought you back originally? School or?
Yeah, it's school, just starting life,
Okay.
In the beginning, always wanted to become a pastor.
Oh, wow.
It kind of runs in the family, like from my grandparents to my dad. So I ended up coming back here just to go to like seminar and, to do like college. And yeah, so I ended up in Chicago first and then went to California after that.
That's crazy. Why a pastor? Just because it's what you grew up?
I think it's like I always loved, like when I was like a middle schooler, even high school, I loved when like the youth pastor would just like love on us as kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like one day I think I really want to do that too. Like give that back.
Yeah.
And I always loved music too. So I grew up playing music, doing music, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna become a youth pastor and a worship pastor.
That's awesome.
So
man.
like that was kind of like the first initial goal of where I thought, that's where I was gonna go.
What was life like being a Korean kid in Brazil?
It was not too crazy because there's like a big population of Koreans.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Kind of like here.
Yeah.
But, it is a trip because, like, when I went back when I was 14, it was super hard to adjust and to understand the culture because I was, like, so used to living here in California, down in Torrance. And, when you're in middle school, you kind of have your routines. You're excited to go to high school. Like, you're going to play soccer. You're going to do this. And you were ready to do stuff. And then, it was something where I'm like, why are we leaving everything that we worked so hard for to go back from where we came from, So like as a 14-year-old, I was like kind of angry. I was like, why are we doing this? Like there's so many other people that can help.
Yeah, they can do it.
That they can do it. I don't need to do it. Yeah. And it was hard to understand. I think that was the hard part of understanding. It took me like all those years till my senior year of high school to really understand like there was so much value of living in Brazil.
Yeah.
Like I learned so much through my parents' mission. And
how'd you cope with that? With that anger or resentment?
I just realized that like at the end of the day, like I don't have an option to like.
Yeah.
It's either I'm just gonna be miserable, or
Yeah.
you adapt and just kind of go with it. And I luckily went to an American Brazilian school, so that
Uh-huh.
kind of helped. But my parents were very intentional in like helping me immerse myself in the culture. And like when you're working with favela kids, which are
Yeah.
like it's like that's like as like I don't know if you've been to a third world, but it's pretty crazy like how they live.
Oh yeah.
And it was really humbling to like be in that for 4 years straight, and serving in that every Sunday. It like really now, like being 32, I look back and I go, dang, like that really changed my life and like helped me to understand more about life and like even life here in Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like you don't realize like what $5 actually does for a family, for a kid. And now that I look back, I go, wow, that actually like I'm glad I understand the value of money.
Were you able to have that perspective while you were there?
Yeah, because I got to see like my parents were intentional. Like they would be. I remember this one time. It was like, this is $100 bill from the U.S.
Yeah.
But look what we can get with $100. And I remember they like bought like 20 huge sacks of rice and beans. Just were able to put packages together, and then it's like, look, we get to this one set is gonna feed a family of four for over 3 weeks.
Isn't that crazy?
And I just remember going like, wow, that's like eye opening. But it wasn't eye opening till like I became a senior, and like I actually like wanted to understand why I was doing it and like the purpose that it's not like just my parents, but like I'm called to do it too. And
Mm-hmm.
like, we did it as a family. And when I had a better outlook, I understood the value of what we were doing as a family.
And what was your relationship like with God at that time? Being young and dealing with all the resentment, but then I'm sure
Yeah.
getting into the flow of things and getting embracing that culture, and then having a perspective shift. Like what was your relationship with God throughout that? Did you turn to Him? Were you like, hey, I need answers? Because
Yeah.
people, I don't think people realize that. They're like, it's okay to be upset with God sometimes,
Yeah.
as long as you go to God.
Yeah. I think like just being transparent, I think growing up, I had a really bad relationship with God.
Yeah.
Like, we were spoon fed the word. Like, and I went to church every day. I had to be a pastor. I was a pastor kid, so I had to be something. I had to be somebody, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not who I thought I was.
Yeah.
They had all this expectation, and it was like I grew up feeling like I was failing all the time, to the point where I was so numb to it that all the stories about the Bible and all the miracles and all the things, I was numb to it. I was just like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I know, but there's got to be more. Because, like, if this is what it feels like to have the God that brings life and does all these things, like, I don't want it. Because it's like, there was no impact. And so it was a really hard relationship, I feel like, with God that I struggled with constantly, because I'm like, man, like I open up the Bible, there's no impact. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I went to a Christian school, so we had to memorize Bible verses, and I'm like, okay, like I'll do it because I have to.
You're just going through the motions.
Yeah, and I'm like people actually don't realize like how difficult it actually is to be a pastor's kid,
In
and
what way?
in a way that like the anger I had or like the frustrations I had, it was almost like I was taught like you can't say those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want to disappoint God kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so for me, I'm like, well, okay, like I can just keep swallowing how the pill of resentment and anger, but like to what extent? And so, you know, it was really difficult, like growing up, to really understand that. Like even going to Bible college, like I went because I'm like, well, I'm really good at it. Like I'm really good at
Yeah.
music. Like I'm
Yeah.
good at hanging out with kids. Like I'm good at like being active and like doing fun stuff. And so like my first paycheck was a church.
Okay.
You know, I never had a normal job. And so it's like because I think I grew up in that, like it like the resentment started when we moved to Brazil, and I don't think I ever worked on it. And I just kind of feel like honestly I just kind of went through the motions till I got to a certain point of like my fourth Bible college that I went to where I was like enough is enough. Like I got to start living what my heart tells me, not what everybody else tells me.
Yeah. What do you think could have been done different? Being that you were kind of just going through the motions,
Yeah.
you're upset, and you're just like, I'm here just to please you guys, so you guys get off
Yeah.
my back. Like, what do you think could have been done different?
Yeah, I think the beauty of parents and having a community is that there's wisdom. They want the best for you. You know, they'll speak their heart because, you know, they feel like they hear from God and all this
Hmm.
stuff. But you have to make that decision yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if I feel off about what was happening, I can't just go, okay, yeah, I guess I'll move because you told me that it's going to be the best.
Hmm.
Like, the moment you just do, it's a snowball effect that gets to a point years later where you go, well, I've done everything for everybody but myself. And you get into that resentment, but at the end of the day, it should have started with God, like, this is my relationship with you. It's not, I don't live through my parents' faith
Hmm.
or my pastor's faith. It's like I should have done that started with me.
When do you think you had that realization?
Pretty much when I like left Bible college, I dropped out of school. It was a moment where like a lot of people from that college were like, dude, like this guy's the Cali bum. Like he's come all the way out here, dropping out of school. He's got nothing to live for. Like just but I just knew it was like I remember having this moment with God where I was like, God, I'm so pissed right now.
Yeah.
I've done everything right. I've picked up paychecks. I've made this work. I've impacted people, but I feel so empty. And like
Mm.
I just need you to tell me. Like I don't want to keep doing school just because somebody told me I need my degree to become a pastor.
Yeah.
Like God, what do you call me to be?
And what happened after that when you
Yeah,
confronted that head on?
I dropped out. I took on a worship pastor job in Jersey at a small school, small church, and was leading worship for, you know, whatever, 50, 60 people. And then during the week, I would go to New York. I loved photography. I loved creating stuff. I always had my GoPro on me, my iPhone.
Yeah.
You know, when we were like I played college soccer, so you know, I was always the guy that's filming stuff and like trying to do like behind the scenes and like take photos of the guys like while we're on the road and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I have two options. I can do what people tell me to do, or I can start believing in myself and believe that God has a good plan for me and chase after that dream. But if I'm gonna do that, chase after that dream, I'm going all in. And so I remember there was a season of my life where I took photos every day, edited at least one photo for 3 months straight. I would take a photo and I go, all right, I failed. What did I do wrong? Look it up on YouTube. All right, fix that one. Okay, so what happened here? And I would fix that. And then I would just keep going. I would take a photo of a tree. I started going into New York and then I would go, all right, I'm just going to go in the streets and just ask people if I could take their portrait. I would take it and I go, okay, I don't like the edit. Like, what's wrong with this? So I just did that because I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not relying on people.
Hmm.
It's like this is something between me and you and God, like me and God, like you know. And so I didn't have a lot of money. I was working at the church, working at a law firm, just being the front desk guy, and taking photos. I'm like, I don't know where it's gonna go, but I know that this it's the only way out.
How'd you deal with getting out of college, feeling like you knew what your identity was, like what your purpose is and what you're supposed to do in being a pastor, and then having that shift and then finding new purpose in content creation?
Yeah.
Like how do you, because people are so confident and they're like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a pastor, I'm gonna do worship, and like this is what I'm called for. I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. And then that changes.
Yeah.
Do you still pursue that with the same passion that you did when you first found out or when you first thought that was your
Yeah.
purpose?
I can confidently say it now, but ministry doesn't start and end in between walls at a church.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's an amazing thing, but the industry that I'm in, it's like they need Jesus.
Yeah.
And right now I can confidently say, like, it's my ministry to be in business.
Yeah.
And it is a really big thing that I think more people need to learn is like Bible college is amazing, but take that and take it into places like the business world and like the fitness, whatever you're called to do.
Yeah.
Like, people are hurting. Like, from the millionaires to whatever average Joes, like we're all like searching for something. If you're materialistic, you're looking for joy.
Mm-hmm.
If you love cars, you love houses, it's like the only thing that they're searching for is joy. They're not really, they think they can get that from stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like we are taught and we know that the ultimate joy is Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, that's what fulfills us. And like, what's a better place than to do that in the marketplace? Like, and I think that's like the beauty of that season was I was learning this healthy balance that ministry doesn't, I don't have to give up ministry.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm stepping into a beautiful season that's like, I'm stepping into the darkness where like, that's where I'm like, okay, God, like, you have to be present for me to get through
Yeah.
this room,
For
through
sure.
the next hour, through this job. Because like, it's, it's dark out there.
Yeah.
But like, how is that room supposed to get any lighter if there aren't people like us going in?
Yeah. Why don't you think people want to do that? Because I personally, things that we've gone through, especially like in our marriage, when I go and coach or when I was competing, that's MMA is a very selfish and very dark sport. There's sex, drugs, rock and roll, like you name it, you can get it, whatever you want, right?
Right.
And I remember when I first started, I went to like 2 different bars just to pass out flyers because a local organization was asking me to go promote my fight. And I'm like, that's your job. Your label is literally promoter. But I wasn't, my identity and my confidence in who I was in God wasn't what it is today. And so how important do you think it is for people to know who they are in God and know what their identity is before they walk into those places?
Yeah, I think, like, how honest can I be on this?
1,000%.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
My wife's going to love this.
yeah, there's no, you can laugh. It's okay.
I think
there's no, just so you know, no filter. Like, be as honest as you want. There's no.
I think the big thing is like, oh boy. I just think that there's too many people.
2 people that watch this, don't worry.
Yeah, no, I think there's too many people that focus on like studying the Bible and knowing it inside out and doing all these things. Mm-hmm. But what good is it to have the knowledge of the Bible if you're not going to be practical with it?
Yeah.
So it's like, in my mind, it's like, it's great. Go to Bible college. Go feed yourself and be immersed in the Word. But like, the whole point of Jesus's ministry was to then go out
Mm-hmm.
in the places. He didn't just walk into places that was safe for him, that his disciples can walk through. No, bro, like he walked through the places that he knew he was going to get persecuted. He knew people weren't going to like him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the important thing. Is like know the Bible, go to church, be a Christian for 20 years. But there's too many people that just they're all head knowledge, but
They don't apply any of it.
no, like what's the point? What good is it for you to hold it on like hold the key of life for yourself?
Yeah.
Like
You have like the ultimate cheat code for life, and
Like,
you're not giving it to anyone.
when you die, it's gone. So what are we gonna live our life to keep only our family safe and be only stuck with church people and only stuck in this community? But it's
Yeah.
like, bro, like there's literally so many people around us, from family members to coworkers to people around us, like even in the fight, like
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that with my own family, where
you know,
like my wife would be like, "Hey, babe, pray." Not our immediate family, but like my
yeah,
parents or other cousins, aunts, and uncles, and she's like, "Hey, pray for before we eat," and I'm like,
yeah,
"They're gonna talk crap."
yeah, and I think it's tough because it's like we don't like to be denied, and
No,
we don't
not
like
at all.
like it sucks, like to get denied or to get feel like you're belittled because you are this and this. But I like think about it, I'm like, man, like when I die I don't get an opportunity to do anything else.
Yeah,
And so like, okay, like my circle can be amazing, but like, dude, like the people I work with are constantly suffering every day, every week. It's like,
mm-hmm.
and I'm really not going to open up my mouth and try to make an impact when I'm around that.
But how do you do that respectfully? Because at some
Yeah.
point it can't be respectful, obviously, just depending on the
Yeah.
situation. But like, I think sometimes you're in rooms or you're in situations where if I Bible thump you, you're not gonna accept it.
Yeah.
But if I show you love, no matter what you believe, I'm a believer, I'm
Right.
Christian, and if I just love on you, like you're gonna be like, oh man, that because when I was a Christian,
Yeah.
when I was when I was a baby Christian, like because I didn't get saved until I was 21.
Yeah.
And even then I had a crappy track record of actually being a Christian, and people would always tell me, they would speak Christianese to me, and I've talked about it before, but they'd be like, just surrender it, just
Yeah.
give it to God, pray about it. And I'm like, all right, cool. How? Like what do I do? Is there like
Yeah.
a playbook? Do I have to do it a certain way? No one ever told me how. It wasn't until I had my own revelation, I had my wife's guidance, and she taught me a lot. But like I had to have my own revelation about what that looks like and what I need to surrender before I can teach it. Because I'm always big on like, if I know it, I can teach it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think it's like this thing where forcing it, like I said, growing up, I was forced
Yeah,
all
for
the
sure.
time. And I think the biggest impact that I have seen or I've heard from other people is when they can just feel loved from me and also feel like it's a safe place. And then from there, it's like Jesus can get brought up or not. At the end of the day, like what my wife and I do that's allowed us to even talk about Jesus is just being loving, being respectful. When we say we're going to do when we're going to do a job, we're going to do it well.
Mm-hmm.
All those things add up. And then we do our own thing. Like we post church on social media. We do our own thing. Like I don't shove Bible verses and do the whole like, God told me to tell you that this is the Bible verse of the day when they don't believe it. It's like, no, like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like what works is being loving. What works is stepping in and being selfless. What works is not reacting and being the leader. Like, and then eventually the conversation happens. It opens up, And then there's moments where you discern it and you go, yeah, like And then God sometimes open up like the door to like
Yeah.
have that conversation, but like we're not God, right? God has to do his job. We're just, being used for his kingdom, but I'm not God. I'm not stepping in to go, you got to do as I say. My
Mm-hmm.
life's changed, so you got to do what I say. It's like, no, no, no. Like the conviction will come. But at the end of the day, like we just got to do our part. What we can control is be
Yeah.
respectful.
How do you think people can grow in their discipline when it comes to that? Because I have been so stupid in the past where I'm like,
Yeah.
we'll just use a simple example. I don't tithe. All of a sudden, 2 days, that whole check is gone. But when I do tithe, it's like, oh, we're being disciplined, we're saving, we're putting away, we're spending the things we need to spend on. Even though I know, like, hey, this is a direct result of me tithing and being obedient and listening, and I get this great result. And when I don't tithe and when I don't listen and I'm not obedient financially, it all crumbles.
Yeah.
But I've been really good now. I'm not trying to snitch on myself, but I've been super good at like tithing, and it's like we're moving ahead. We're planning. We're starting to dream together. Like we're doing things that are working because I'm being disciplined in my tithe. But I'm talking about even like 2 years ago, I was not like that.
I mean, that's a season that I'm stepping into is like obedience part.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's no point of doing anything because the church tells you to do something or convicts you to do something if you don't have the conviction.
Mm-hmm.
Like truly, because then that's where resentment happens, and that's when you start thinking,
You can keep talking.
um,
Okay.
okay,
You're good.
no, but like I just think that it just like you gotta want to do it yourself, and like the tithing thing, it's a lot of different things, and serving at church, it's like it's all amazing stuff, but if you don't have a purpose of why you do it, there's zero point of doing it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's a never-ending cycle. Till I think it's a never-ending cycle till the day I die, that I will not be the perfect Christian.
yeah.
That I will always have to deal with like my behavior and how I do things. But at the end of the day, like the truth is that we will never die perfect.
Yeah.
But I want to do my best while I'm on Earth to get to the point where it's like I'm doing the things that God's called me to be. I'm not going to even say do the right things. It's just like do the things that God's called me to be. Like I want to be the son that God goes, yeah, like you worked your butt off.
Well, I love that because there was a lot of times where I would tithe just because I was like, oh, this is the right thing to do.
Right.
This is what they're teaching me, and when you're learning, you want to obey everything because you want to be a good boy.
Yeah.
You want to be like, oh, yeah, no, I listen to everything. But there was a lot of times where I didn't want to and I didn't
Yeah.
feel convicted to. And I was like, nah, I'm just doing it because I'm forced to do it. I feel like this is what you're supposed to do as a Christian. But it's even like the verse today. Like, so I get up every morning. I built this ritual, if you will, where I brush my teeth before I take a shower, and then I read the verse of the day while I'm on the doo-doo, taking a doo-doo. It's just the best.
It's a sacred place.
It's a safe.
Women
it's my
will
safe
never.
place.
Yeah, they're never
my
going to
safe
understand.
place. And so it's literally every morning. And it's cool because the Bible app like tracks it. And then being a former athlete, I'm like, all right, you have 170 days. Don't back up. And so anyways, it's all good things now. But like today's verse was about essentially having be a cheerful giver. And don't give because you're told to. But when does that change for you? Like in that journey? Because I feel like I'm so stubborn.
Yeah.
And I feel like people need to go through things themselves and have their own experiences before they can make a decision to want to change.
Yeah, it's. I'm literally learning that right now. Like actually, as we speak, it's like. At the end of the day, I finally grasped that 10%. I don't care about the legalistic side of things.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I remember at church, it was once told to us like. Isn't that crazy? Like, God gives us everything. But he just wants 10%. of the money that he provided for us. And I'm thinking, man, like that is so little. But I realize maybe because I was a missionary's kid or how I was raised, like I never had the bad intention to have more money. I wanted to provide for a future wife one day and for our kids and like our future kids, you know. But like I realized that it can sometimes turn into your God, even though
Yeah.
your intentions are to feed your family and to help other people, help my parents' mission. And like I had this huge goal, but I realized when it's like I can't release 10%, but God, I can't release it because I'm I'm gonna give it to like here and I'm gonna save it for the family that you provide. But it's like I just learned had this moment where I'm like, God, like, whoa. It's like, give me what I've given you. And
Yeah.
I'm only asking for 10. And that's the way I had to learn because I've heard it, man, my whole life being in church.
Yeah.
And I always was like, bro, this is the most legalistic thing in the world. Like y'all are running a business. Like
Yeah.
I'm
For
over that.
sure.
Like that's not cool. But I remember at church that it was once told like that. Like God gives us literally everything, breath in our lungs, health, our beautiful wives, like
Yeah.
our business and everything, our clients. And so like God just wants that 10% back. And I remember it hit me, you know? And so I think there's people are raised in so many different ways. For me, I'm not good with the pushy like do this
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
said so. It's like no, I rather go the long way, the hard way and get to a point where I'm like yeah, right. Okay. So all of this it's from God. All right, I believe that.
Yep.
What is tithing? Just giving back the 10%. And it's not even like give 10 and you'll get 2 times more. It's like no, like God, like this is my way of saying thank you. Like I can wake up and be selfish and do all these things. But thank you, you give me one opportunity to just be able to say thank you
Yeah.
in a way that is in this form.
Man, that's a great, perspective to have. I think if more people looked at it that way,
Yeah.
where it's just a thank you, like thank you for even giving me the opportunity
Yeah.
to be able to do this, and are more humble about it rather than like, oh well, this is going to go to someone's salary, because your mind can start taking you all these different places, and completely
Yeah.
change why you're giving, but that's not up to you,
Yeah,
you know.
and I wrestle with that, you know, like what is my money gonna do for other people? Like what I rather do this and it's like, no, no, no. You know what? Thank you, God.
Yeah,
Like how you use this, it doesn't matter. Like it's not in our
exactly.
control.
Yeah,
Like if somebody misuses it, that's not our fault.
yeah,
That's not our business to take care of. Our goal as a person is to just give thanks every day. And that is one of the greatest forms of saying thank you. I truly believe that. And I did not understand that till like a month ago.
that's awesome. Because I've justified it before, where I've been like, well, I know a family that needs it. Why not just give them the 10%?
Yeah.
And,
No,
and then
trust
you
me.
don't do it. It's not a discipline anymore, and it's not a thank you. Now you're doing it for selfish reasons, to be like, oh, I get to help them, because it does bring you joy when you
Yeah.
help someone out. And you do stuff like that. But I think it's so interesting to have that perspective. And now looking back, now as an adult, what what makes you, or why do you still have that pursuit after God now, knowing what you
Yeah.
grew up in church, you have the knowledge, it was fed to you all the time. Like, what do you do to kind of recenter and go back to be like, no, God, I still want to pursue you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like it says in the word like we're not promised tomorrow.
Mm.
And death is something that a lot of people don't like to talk about.
Yeah.
They like to plan their whole life ahead and do all these things, but you know, like I've seen it in my own eyes that life is shorter than we think,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to make the most of the time here. I know heaven's going to be really dope, but
Yeah.
but I want to make the most out
Yeah.
of being on Earth, you know. And like when I die, like I just ask that question, like who do I want to be? Like who do I want like people to see me as?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be known for somebody who, you know, made an impact, was respectful. People just felt like they were blessed by just my generosity and like my act of kindness and all this stuff. But we're humans. Those
Mm-hmm.
things, those characteristics that I wish people will talk about on the day that I go to heaven. It takes somebody like Jesus to make an impact in my life so that I can wake up and actually do those things. Because
Mm-hmm.
as humans, we're sin and we're flawed. Those
You,
are those are things we do, but it's hard. You know what I mean?
if you always had that mentality, or what is there things that have happened in your life that made you realize, like, hey, no, we're not promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
We we have to be thankful. Like, we have to be grateful for what we have in front of us today. Like, not only
Yeah.
does it say that in the Bible, that to not worry about tomorrow. It has enough worries of its own.
Yeah.
But like, what have you gone through that made you realize that?
Yeah. Like right now, I'm obviously going through stage 5 kidney failure.
Mm-hmm.
I have 7% function in my kidneys. And we caught it at a time where I could have been a dead man. Like before we found out,
Mm-hmm.
like could have had a heart attack on a flight, like a lot of different things.
What happened? How'd you find out?
I was in Brazil visiting my parents just to, you know, kind of reset, and I get free healthcare out there.
Yeah.
And we did our blood tests. I was like, it's free, why not? With insurance here, it cost me a lot of money.
Yeah.
But we did in Brazil, and it was Saturday. I was flying on Sunday. They called my parents as I was sleeping. Got the lab work, and they're like, "Your son is in really critical condition." Like,
Did you feel something prior,
no, I
or
felt nothing.
so it's like normal? You just
Normal.
wanted to go get blood work just to go
Yeah,
get it.
no, I was fine.
Yeah.
I even told my wife, I was like, she kept bugging me about it because we saw the kidney start kind of going down when I was like 19. But
From what?
I was born with 2 smaller kidneys.
Okay.
And it was like we would check up on it, and it was like, oh yeah, like you're good till you're 50. Like, the progress of how it's going down, like you'll be fine till 50. And at the end of the day, like going back to what I said, like when I heard that, I'm like, oh, I'm good. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
19, I'm 20, eat however I want, sleep however I want, do whatever I want. Like, and then we just go, like, when we get to 50, I'll deal with it. I've lived long enough. But then it's like, that's the concept. Like, what if you don't make it to 50?
Yeah.
So you've planned this whole entire thing
Mm-hmm.
that at 40, maybe I'll go do this. And at 45, I'll do that. But it's like, dude, if you don't make it, you don't get to do it. So it's like, those are things that I wish I could have taken on as a teenager, as a college student, growing up. Just like, yeah, like I'm not promised tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm faced with something like this where it's like, I'm literally in the ER going, like, how the hell did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did I go from surfing, doing whatever I want, literally just living life, got my, at the time girlfriend, life's good. And then all of a sudden it's like I'm in an ER with almost 200 blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm told that I can't do all these things. And most likely you won't get out of bed, won't be able to drive yourself, won't be able to do anything. Like, and I'm like, God, there's no way. Like, being outdoors was my way of connecting with you, and you're taking that away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a concept that I was like, dang, this is like, now what? Is death the only option? So then why did you let me meet my wife?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? It was just a lot of questions. It was like, I was pretty angry, you know?
What kind of questions were you asking, and then what answers did you get?
First one was like, what now? Like,
Mm-hmm.
is this punishment? Like, did I do something wrong that you're punishing me? Because, like, there's people that are worse. People do worse things, and you're not punishing them. You're punishing me for what? What did I do wrong? Like, tell me what I did wrong. That was my first question. And, of course, the response I had to, like, learn was that I'm not punished. I don't just punish people. Like, this is a beautiful season. I remember going like, no, there's no beauty in pain.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, there's no beauty in pain. I don't want to go through it. And it's so crazy that, like, it took me coming out of that hospital and my wife going, you know, putting Bible verses and praying for me. And we really, like, leaned in.
How long were you in the hospital? This was still in Brazil.
No, I admitted myself into the ER here in California.
Okay.
I made it on the flight. Lord knows how I made a 12-hour flight without getting a heart attack.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to fly.
Yeah, no, they were like, no, like, don't fly.
Mm-hmm.
But I pretty much told my parents, I was like, I wouldn't be engaged. I wouldn't do, like, I'm engaged. Like, if I'm ending a chapter in California and going doing treatment in Brazil, like, I'm gonna wrap it well.
Yeah.
Finish it off well. Like, God's not a God that just opens up doors and just goes, yeah, just leave it and just walk away. It's like, no, like, he's a God of completion.
Yep.
He's never a God that just says to do one thing and then just, oh, I feel like God called me to do this. No. He completes things, ends a chapter, and then continues to write the next one.
So what kind of things have you learned, or how has your faith deepened going through this journey?
I think it's like the thing of the being practical. It's one thing to always be joyful, but I'm learning that it's okay that there's going to be days that are not joyful.
Mm-hmm.
There are days where joy springs up and you feel motivated, but then there's going to be days where it's the polar opposite.
Mm-hmm.
But those are days you got to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you fight, you need rest. So I got to learn that balance. You know, I think a lot of people get confused and ask the question, is there something wrong with me still?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are days that I don't want to wake up and do this. Am I a bad Christian? Like, am I, you know, whatever, name all the things. Especially, I go to a really spirit-filled church, like, and I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and now I'm this, and it's like, I'm learning that, like, that's part of life.
Yeah.
But, like, those days are the days that remind you that God is God for a reason. The people that only want to share that they're joyful 24/7, there's no problems, there's no marriage problems or financial problems, everything is perfect. I'm sorry, but that's all BS to me.
Why don't we have more people like that, though? And what more believers? Like, life isn't pretty, you know. Life is almost, for me at least, it's been harder as a believer than it ever was when I was doing whatever I wanted.
You know, at the end of the day, I think it's the culture of shame. We don't want to be judged.
Yeah.
And sadly, like, 90% of Christians will say they're not judgmental people.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, we are.
For sure.
We like to look at what other people are doing. we like snoop on people and do the
100%.
whole Instagram thing and do that whole thing. And then we want to put our finger on what's wrong with them and how we can fix it. But at the end of the day, it's like the truth of the brokenness of our lives. We need a God that can fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that the days that are frustrating, you're not weak. You're able to, God's given us the ability to practice strength.
That's good. That's a good
And
word.
I just think that
Practice strength.
a lot of people truly are, like, if in a gym setting, it's a lot of people who think they're really strong because they go to a really nice gym,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't lift a finger at all. It's just like they're just there to be in a really good facility.
Yeah. Like, look
But
at
at the end of
me.
the day, the person that actually wants to become strong, they do the hard thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you don't need much. No.
you just need weights, you need progress, you need a plan, you need a
Yeah.
community, and you just do it. Doesn't matter what the facility looks like. But I think a lot of Christians around here, they just go, I need the nicest facility. That's when I'll meet Jesus. Then my husband will encounter Jesus.
Yeah.
Then it's like, then this, but it's like, bro, like,
None of that's real though. You can get the same results, if not better, when you have intimate time. When you do
Yeah.
it, it can be a grimy, dirty place, but if you got your word, you're gonna be filled with that.
Exactly.
You know, so it's like the gym setting you were talking about. People want to
Yeah.
go to Lifetime Fitness because it looks pretty. You can get the same results at a grimy old gym that's dark
Right.
and rusted and gross.
What is your intention?
Yeah, your
That's
your
it.
intention has to be correct. So what does your day look like now? Like your day to day, what does that look like for you now?
Yeah, so I have to go to treatment, do dialysis. It's called
Mm-hmm.
on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So they cleanse my blood, and that's how I can pretty much live and have energy. But like God's done such a crazy miracle because it's like 95% patients are can't walk at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they are on walkers and this and that. Can't urinate, so then their legs swell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's crazy. I don't feel pain, and like I work out with Turner. You know, he's not an
Yeah.
easy trainer.
Yeah.
It's like I go for walks. You know, I can provide for my wife. Like those are all things that most patients can't do. And so I'm living in this season where when God said that in the hospital bed that it's going to be a beautiful season, I mean, like I'm living that out and I'm seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people don't understand that a beautiful season is going to have chaos.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have storms. Because at the end of the day, like what I've learned through all this is like, I don't feel pain. It's a miracle.
Oh,
But I
100%.
still have to wake up every day and choose life
Mm-hmm.
and be intentional. But that's what it's taught me. Like facing death. And I know like I've had this conversation with my wife. It's a scary conversation, death. But when you're faced with it, like literally, it's like somebody physically tells you you could have been dead. It woke me up and I go, all right, it's time to stop fooling around. Like, God, what do you want to teach me?
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to get better in? I'm forgetting the pride, forgetting like all the moments that all the negativity, like God, like what do you want? Like what have you called me to do on this earth?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just we sing about it at church all the time. We pray about it. We ask God to prune us and shape us and
Yeah.
mold us. But when he actually does it, we don't realize how hard it actually
You
is.
don't like it.
No, bro, but
Yeah,
like we
no,
sing about
no.
it 24/7.
Yeah,
Every Sunday we ask God to do that. And then it's like he does it and we get frustrated.
yeah.
It's like, but bro, you're
You're,
singing it.
yeah, you're getting what you wanted.
Yeah.
And I think in that regard, just the coach in me is like, no, go, like, keep at it. There's nothing more discouraging to an opponent than in a fight or in a football game or whatever, when you keep hitting them with everything you got and they keep coming forward and they keep fighting
Yeah.
back and they keep answering the bell and they keep getting up
Yeah.
round after round after round, and you can't put them away. And I think if we look at our faith like that, like, we have an enemy that wants to destroy us,
Yeah.
that wants to kill whatever dreams, passions,
Right.
identity that we have, and if we keep coming back and fighting that, it's okay to fight that. That's a fight you want to fight.
Yeah, for sure.
That's something you want to go into battle with prayer and community and pastors and the word. Like that, there's so
Yeah.
many things, and I think people get lost in that. Like, you're legitimately a walking miracle.
Yeah.
And the fact that you get to share your story, talk about what you've gone through, and the perspective shift, it is so important for people to listen to.
Yeah.
Because we are in South Orange County, and it's one of the safest places in the world, and it's beautiful. It's also one of the most expensive places in the world. But I don't think people get that perspective. Like, we hear it all the time at church, and people are like, there's millionaires, and they feel so empty. It's because they don't have that.
No.
You're dying, and you're joyful, and you're happy, and you get that prognosis, and you're like, no, I'm going to fight through this.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you're here and you're willing to talk about it not only speaks volumes about who you are and the character that you have, but I think it speaks about how grounded you are in your faith and how much you believe in what God's plans
Yeah.
are for you. And you're walking through that. So as another dude, it's encouraging
Yeah,
to witness. So thanks for that, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I think it's like we got to fight a good fight, and
Yeah.
being Christian, people think, oh, well, then I'll get everything I want. No, like, the devil does not want us to have joy, success, anything that God intended us to have. And so, and also view it this way, if you're not fighting, then you're doing something wrong. Because, like, if you're fighting, you know that the devil's pissed.
Yeah.
But that means you're doing God's work right. And so, I think there needs to be more of that. Like, I think there's too many soft Christians. There's too many Christians that are just, filled here, but empty here.
Yeah.
And like when a fight does come, it really like exposes you, not just as a man, but as a human, really where you are with God.
Yeah.
If you genuinely like have yet to be like, God, I am frustrated. Teach me. If you even haven't done that, I think it's still a long ways to get to a healthy relationship with God.
Yeah. Well, and I think people got to realize that it's going to be a continual battle, and it's okay. Like, you're not going to be perfect, like you talked about earlier, and it's not going to be easy. You're not going to be perfect. You're still going to sin. Like, it's not all rainbows and unicorns. And I think that's the misconception that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
Is that it's not easy.
Yeah.
It gets harder, and it becomes frustrating sometimes.
Yeah.
And I feel that people turn away from that,
Yeah, I
And
agree.
so the last thing I want to touch on is I want to be able to give you a platform to promote what you have to promote.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Where can they follow you and support your businesses and the different things you got going on?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so my wife and I started Heavenly Exchange in the hospital bed because we genuinely thought like, wow, like we don't want to keep Sam bored. Like, like I just literally thought the doctor told me like, you're going to be bedridden. So I'm like, I can't not do something, make an impact or provide for our family or do something. So Heavenly Exchange came about, but praise God, I'm working and doing normal stuff. But it's just something that's been on our heart that there's a lot of good Christian brands that promote God super well. And then there's fashion brands that are against God that do well.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to be the people right in the middle that start the conversation. You know, we wanted it to be cool. We wanted it to be simple. We wanted it to be straightforward. But we wanted it to be a conversation starter. So we started having an exchange, and we've got some new things coming out here soon. But yeah, man, it's just at the Heavenly Exchange on Instagram, and you can give us a follow. And we've got some new stuff coming out, and yeah, also we help small businesses, and we love doing marketing and graphics and just storytelling for companies. Like we love doing that. So where do I tell them? Just my actual
Website. If people want
We've
to
been
follow
word of
you,
mouth. So yeah, it's I am Sam Kim with 2 M's at the end. You can DM me if you're a small business. We would love to help you. And our vision always is to be authentic, real, and do God's work, which is just do excellent work. We don't overpromise. We just keep it simple. And specifically, we have a heart for small businesses because we know how it is to just get things off. And a lot of people want to have success, not just for the money's sake, but they want it to better the community that they're in. We love that. We love our job because we get to partner with owners who just want the same for their family, and we want to be a small part of a bigger story.
That's awesome.
So
all right, so make sure to follow them, guys. With the website, do you have a website for Heavenly Exchange?
yeah, it's theheavenlyexchange.com.
Theheavenlyexchange.com, and we'll put everything on the description. We'll put links to it, and we'll help promote it. Sam, thank you so much for the sermon. Thank you so much for coming on and taking time out of your day to make time for us and just sharing your story, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
All right, man. Just remember, guys, that everything was impossible till someone did it.
Awesome. Bro.